What's up, traders? Going 3 for 3 today. Again, nothing big. Kind of weaseled our way to around that $50 area. Again, could have actually been a pretty decent day had Snap worked out, as well as I think it was SOPA with the leftovers. If we would have just got any kind of fill down where we tried, we got missed by 2 cents on Snap, which we'll get into. We'll actually jump right into that one because that was the first trade of the day. SNAP, see that previous resistance all the way down here at 35.77. And made a decent little move. I was hoping we'd get a big push up through 37, but it clearly started to jiggle and just not want to get that high right around here. And if we put in a line real quick so we can see, 36.80 was the top. We actually got 36.78, I think, 77. And we had an order here at 36.55. It got to 57. And unfortunately, it kind of flashed down there a little bit and then came right back up. So we didn't get a chance to kind of just drag our order up. Yeah, it was pretty frustrating. It came all the way back up to our average and we took it off. And right after that, it did go just a tad higher than our average, 78.5. And then ultimately, you can see what it did for the next 10 minutes or so. Pretty frustrating. Because if we get this right here, we probably just put the stop at high. It didn't quite go to the highs and maybe break even. I don't know. It might have just stopped out our leftovers where we did here, our full position. But if we get that 2 cents for 75% of our position, it would have been like $20 or something like that. So it's nothing crazy. But in the grand scheme of things today, that would have put us a whole 20% closer to that $100, which is our goal. So it's kind of a big deal. But it's just unfortunate that such a small miss can make such a decent impact on the day. But anyways, on to the next one. SOPA. This one was another one. This one came out of a halt and apparently it was like an earnings release or something like that. And this one was pretty good. We had an order, I believe it was at 435 or something like that. And it just, as it was coming up, it didn't get filled. And it started to come down. And keep in mind, this was right after the halt. So it was pushing up. And I think 430 was the high. I think it missed us by like 5 cents. So we dragged our order down, but it was still above the ask. I think it went down to like 420 on the ask. And we put our order at 426 and it did jump up and get us. And when it did jump up and get us, it made this huge push up here to 455. Now it was all at once. It was almost like a big market order. It flashed up to 455, flashed right back down to around where we got filled. So there was nothing we could do as far as getting an ad up here. But if it wanted to continue higher, we actually put an order in at one point up here around like 480. 475, 480. But unfortunately, it never got there. It did come all the way down. We took 75% of our position here, which was actually a decent amount. And we tried to hold our leftovers. We even let it go back up against us because I was ready to add back into this, looking at all this room to the downside that we had. And knowing that we got 75% of our position out, if it wanted to go higher, I knew that we could get our average up really easy if we had to. But it came back down. And then it tried to go lower here. And we were obviously looking for closer to like 350, 360. And it started to curl back up. And right here, obviously I was not going to let it go back against me at this point. And it started to curl. It broke up above this candle. And so I took it off 425. We filled at 423. And look at what it did right after. So again, another one that was frustrating. We would have eventually got that filled because I was going to just trail it out. And I ultimately wanted it down around that 350, 360 area. So we would have got it pretty quickly if we just got past this bounce back up. Would a better average getting filled at that 435 area have helped? I don't know. I don't know if it would have helped because I don't think I would have held that long. I think I was still looking for that curl, especially when it held that same support area the second time and started to come back up. And it just, it felt like it wanted to possibly try to go higher. And then our last trade, HYMC. This one was a good one. Pretty much textbook here. I mean, this is a good one. This range on it wasn't that great. Maybe could have got some more shares. We took 400 shares on this thing, but previous resistance, big move on volume up through that previous resistance. As we scroll in, the only thing that sucked about this one was it was on SSR. So we kind of had to sort of guess where it was going to jiggle because you don't want to miss the move as it's pushing up like this. So you kind of have to put in a decent little order. And the way it was moving, it felt like it was struggling to even get through like 140, 141. So I put the order at 145 just in hopes that we would get it. And when we did get it, it decided to keep going and it tried 150. We actually put an order out at 155 for another 400 shares. But as you can see, it rejected at 150. And so it started to come down. We actually took 300 of the 450 here at 140. Then I was hoping to get the other full 100 down here 135, but it really started to struggle and it looked like it was going to start curling right here. So we took half of that just to be safe and then kind of lock in some wins. And then ultimately we did get that drop. I gave it a second while it was here. I actually put an order down at like 129, seeing if it wanted to give us a nice little flush through that area. But again, that previous resistance always likes to turn into support. So that ultimately is always my final take profit area that I'm looking for. But I'll always, if I can, try to give it a shot. And this one was moving not that fast, even though it kind of looks like the candles were fast. So I was giving it a second to see if it wanted to give us that crack down through, but it didn't. So we took it off. And as you can see, it did try to go higher before ultimately ending up finally making that break down lower. But again, intense move into the pullback. That's our high probability play. That's our edge. And what it does after that, I don't know. I don't care, even though today I do care because it took my leftovers both times on the other two, which could have made for a better day. It is what it is. So a little hype with GME, AMC. These are they're all making some moves today. What was the other one? COS, BPBY. So we're getting some action, even if it's the meme stocks. I was telling the guys in the room that, I was browsing Wall Street Bets on Reddit yesterday, and there was a lot of talk. There was a lot of people speculating why GME should be making another big move soon. And, maybe that's kind of what's led to people getting excited about it. And today might have been just the day that people decided to start buying some shares. They saw it going up yesterday and they just kind of continued with it today, and we'll see what it does. Hopefully it brings some of that life back into the market that we've been hoping for. But again, just another day with not a lot of extra FOMO type pushes. And there were a few. I can't remember the tickers offhand because I didn't trade them. But it was very frustrating because, they're the ones that we don't have shares on or whatever. So that's all I got. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Always appreciate the support. If you do have any questions or comments, feel free to leave those down below. You can find me in the Discord. I'm in there all the time. That'll go right through to my phone if you want to talk in there. Or you can find me on Twitter. Same thing. Twitter goes right to my phone as well. So if you ever want to ask me a question and maybe get an answer right away, I usually respond to the YouTube comments almost right away too. But sometimes I just don't see them right away. But yeah, until tomorrow, peace.